I am so excited and grateful for this opportunity for us to um, have a few minutes with Casey O'Brien. And man, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. Appreciate you guys having me on, and thank you to everyone who's tuning in out there. Excited to get to hang out with you guys for a little while.
Well, I just think, you know that I think you're completely awesome. And so it's absolutely our pleasure and honor to have you with us. So I thought what we would do today is instead of doing like a presentation or anything, I thought it would be fun to kind of do some Q&A and get to know Casey O'Brien. For those that may not have had the opportunity to get to know you yet, and then for us to get reacquainted, since it's been now, goodness, you were with us back in November, so it's been a few months.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds awesome.
Okay, so Casey, I have a couple of questions, and then I know that there will be questions that will be from the attendees. So I'm going to watch those questions. Maggie's going to go ahead and type them up for us to be able to see them in the chat bar, that they can ask as well. But tell us, let's start as a kid growing up. What did you want to be when you were an adult?
I wanted to be a professional football player.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't really have any other plans besides that. That was kind of my goal and my dream growing up. And I played a lot of sports. I mean, growing up, I played football, hockey, track, lacrosse, baseball. But football is always my favorite sport. And that was the one that I wanted to someday hopefully go pro in. So that was kind of my dream, my goal growing up.
So, so you played hockey, you played baseball, track. What was it about football that just got your attention and that was the one you chose?
I would attribute a lot of it to growing up so much around the game of football. My dad has been a coach since he was, I think, 22. He got his first coaching job at Lakeville High School before it was Lakeville North and Lakeville South. He was a high school coach there. And then my grandpa has been coaching football for like 35 years. So growing up, I would ball boy for my grandpa's team at Cretin-Derham Hall on Friday nights. And then I would ball boy for my dad's college team on Saturdays. So I was always around the game of football, and I'd come and hang out at practice after school. And I don't know, I just loved being around it. And I loved the fact that it brought so many different people from different backgrounds together. And I don't know, it just has always been something that has stuck with me, and lucky to still be playing today.
So what drew you to the U of M?
There's a few things that drew me to the U of M. Number one was the school piece of it. I got into the Carlson School of Management, which is a pretty respected business school in the upper Midwest and also the country. So that was a big piece of it, number one. And number two was the fact that it was the only school that gave me a chance to walk on. Coach Fleck was brand new here in January of my senior year of high school. And there was not any other coaches really reaching out to me or giving me any sort of look. And when he got here, he had somehow heard that I wanted to continue playing in college and reached out to me. And I got to know him a little bit in the recruiting process, and decided that he would definitely be a person that I'd want to play for. And so he said that as long as I could get cleared by the doctors at the U of M, that I'd have a spot to walk on. And all the other schools that I had talked to were like, yeah, we don't think we can get you cleared. Like, you have this metal knee, you have this replaced knee, like our doctors aren't comfortable with it. And Coach Fleck was always like, if you can get cleared, yeah, we got a spot for you. And the doctors cleared me, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Coach Fleck saw an opportunity when everybody else saw an obstacle.
Yeah. I think that Coach Fleck is a person who likes stories, and he believes in people. and he gave me a chance, and that's all that it took. And I'm really, really happy with the decision that I made, and feel lucky to be on the platform that I'm on, and get to represent the state.
So you're finished up your second year now, right?
Third year, actually.
Third year.
Yeah.
Wow. And so I'm pretty sure we have lots of like a lot of people on here that are involved in various types of businesses.
Hmm.
And so you majored in, is it business management that you've majored in?
Finance.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yep, finance. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do with it?
My thought right now is that I want to go into financial advising. Um, the reason that is something where you get to help people, and you get to go out and you get to set people up for the rest of their lives, set people up to have their kids be able to go to college and set them up for retirement. Um, and you get to meet and create like close relationships to these people. So I think that being able to get out and move around a little bit, I don't sit still very well. So um, being able to move around a little bit and help people, and be in the world of finance, which is something that is interesting to me to read about, is a good fit. But you never know. We'll see where the road takes me. I'm excited to get to that point though, and see where I can help people.
That's awesome. Well, I'm pretty sure you've got a lot of people that may be interested in talking with you. So, uh, and who knows? I mean, you might be a realtor. I mean, call me crazy, but they do some stuff with finance and they help people.
I was
So
gonna say, and they help people, and they're out and creating relationships, and yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, there's
we
some
don't
connection.
sit still very often, actually. We kind of move too. So you're in a good crowd right now. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the cancer. When did you first learn of it? And you know what? I think I might be wrong in some of my um, marketing. I had said that you beat it 5 times. Did you beat it 5 or did you beat it 6?
Personally, I count it as 5.
Okay,
Um, I had a spot taken out in my lung that had come back right before our Wisconsin game in November.
got it.
And then our plan was to do another scan in 8 weeks. And we didn't expect anything else to be there. And then I ended up having another spot in my other side. Um, and they said that when they looked back on the scans, that spot that was in the other side was there, but it was so small that they didn't even think anything of it. Because I've had like 7 or 8 surgeries in my lungs now, so things are a little bit hard to read for the radiologist in there, because there's been a lot of scar tissue and things like that. So they didn't even think anything of it, but it was there that whole time. So I've kind of considered all of this from November on to just finishing up in May as kind of my 5th time going through it.
Okay. Okay. Well, take us through to the beginning and tell us a little bit about your journey um, in beating it time and time again.
Yeah. Um, when I was a 13-year-old, I was a freshman in high school at Cretin Durham Hall. And I was in the fall of my freshman football season. I was playing quarterback for the freshman team. And about halfway through the year, I was feeling this pain in my left knee. And when I would drop back to pass and I would push off on that left knee, I would just kind of feel this like pain that would shoot up my leg. And it got to the point where I was walking around through the entire school day on crutches, would crutch out to the practice field, put my crutches down and practice, and then pick them up and crutch around for the rest of the day so that I'd stay off of my knee, just so that I could practice and play. And it got to the point where I was in so much pain that I couldn't even run on it anymore. So we knew we needed to go get it seriously looked at. And we went to different knee specialists, we went to different doctors, we went to Children's downtown St. Paul, and no one could really give us a clear answer on what it was, and why things weren't getting any better. And then I ended up getting an MRI on it, and that's when they found a tumor about the size of a softball right on the inside of my knee. So that's when we knew that things were serious, and had a biopsy on it that Monday. That was on a Saturday that they did that MRI, and they turned it around pretty quickly. And I had a surgery that Monday for a biopsy, and then that following Friday, I had a port put in and started chemo as a 13-year-old.
Mm.
So that was the first time going through it. Went through, I think it was like 9 rounds of chemo and then a surgery. It was like an 8.5-hour surgery on my knee where they completely replaced my left knee, put a rod into my femur, put a rod into my tibia. Really, really serious surgery down at Masonic Children's at the U of M. And then I think I finished up with like 3 or 4 more rounds of chemo after that. And they felt really, really good with where I was at. They felt like what they took out was dead, and we were going to be in a good spot moving forward. And then just 6 months later, I had spots in both of my lungs come back. So that was round 2 going through it. And that was when I kind of decided that I wanted to come back to football. I was going through this stuff for the second time, and I said, I want to take my life back. And so I talked with my doctors, talked with my parents, and tried to figure out what position I could play where I wasn't going to get hit or would have the least chance to get hit. Because anytime you're on a football field, you can get hit.
Yeah.
But took a chance to become a holder, where you're not supposed to get hit out there. And it was a crazy time because I was still going through chemo. I was like 130 pounds. I was bald. And I decided that I was going to go play high school football. So my junior year of high school, played in my first high school football game, varsity game on a Friday night, held 3 extra points, and then checked into the hospital for a round of chemo the next morning. So, and then for the rest of that season, we played every Friday night. In my chemo regimen, it was a pretty intense chemo the second time going through it. So I would be in the hospital for a full week getting chemo. And I would watch our team's game on FaceTime. Someone would FaceTime me from the game, and I'd watch from my hospital bed on that Friday night. And then I'd have 2 weeks off to rest and recover. And in those 2 weeks off, I'd practice and I'd play on those Friday nights. So I'd be playing when I was supposed to be resting from chemo and stuff like that. And so I think I played in like 5 games in my junior year while going through chemo. And then my senior year was cancer-free, and played my full senior year. And then since then, I've had a couple bumps on the road in college. Had to come back in my lungs a couple different times, but here we are today.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. I mean, speaking from a mom's perspective, like, what was your mom's response when you said, "Hey, I want to go out for football"? I mean, I get that, like your dad, right? I get that, the coaching, and it's in your blood, and you love it. What'd your mom say?
She was not thrilled with the idea, to say the least. There was a lot of caution around it because, number one, I had a port in my chest, which is like this plastic device that they put in your chest to make it easier to put IVs into your chest. And so I had a port in my chest, and I had a fully replaced knee that was like only a year or 2 old. And our doctors basically said, if you take a hit on that knee, or if you take a hit on your port, you have to come straight to the hospital, like, to have surgery. And that was a risk that I was willing to take. But my mom wasn't as convinced on it.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of talking, and I had a special pad sewn into my shirt that I wear underneath my shoulder pads, and I wore a brace on my knee. But I did actually end up taking 1 hit in high school, and I think my mom left the stadium. I was completely fine, but my mom didn't want to watch anymore.
I don't blame her. I'm surprised she didn't run onto the field and take
Yeah,
it out.
seriously. Seriously.
It's an amazing story. And yet the one thing that always sticks with me is I think it might have been actually Coach Fleck in one of the videos that I had watched, and you had even said it, that cancer doesn't, you aren't somebody, cancer isn't who you are, you're somebody that beats cancer. And
Absolutely.
you're a
Absolutely.
football player, you're a college student, you're a friend, you're a leader, you're a finance major in the Carlson business at school who happens to deal with cancer.
Hmm. Yeah, that attitude for me kind of started the second time going through it when I said that I wanted to come back to playing football, because at that point kind of the flip switched for me, and I was like, it's time to take my life back. Cancer's taken a lot away from me, but there's still so much to life that I can enjoy, and I can be me. So that's kind of when I decided I want to take my life back. And since then, I have tried to make my life more about living and less about dealing with cancer. So my attitude has kind of been, we'll have scans every 3 months, every 2 months, whatever that looks like. And if something bad comes up, we'll deal with it then. But we're not going to worry about it until then, because life's too short to worry. And I've dealt with enough to say that you got to enjoy the good moments, and you got to enjoy when you're feeling good and you have family and friends who love you.
So what is it in your mind that allows you to have that tough mindset, that that tough mentality that you have that's going to carry you through no matter what the circumstances are? What do you think it is?
I would tell you that my a lot of my mental toughness comes from the the why in my life. We talk on the team about like, what's your why? And for me, my why is that I know that I have a lot of kids, and I have a lot of different people going through cancer who are looking up to me and following me as a leader. And I don't want to let those people down. So even though I might be battling cancer and they are battling as well, they're still looking at me, and they're looking at how I'm responding and how I'm taking my battle, and how I'm attacking it. So I want to make sure that I'm setting the right example for those people, and for anyone else that is going through an adversity that's looking to me to learn and to see how I handle things. So I don't want to let the people who are following me down.
It's a pretty cool thing, Case. Pretty cool. Um, okay, so here's a tough question, and I sent this one to you because I knew that it would sound weird.
Hmm.
Um, what's the gift that cancer's given you?
I think that cancer has given me, number one, a 100% changed outlook on life. Um, I would tell you that I enjoy the little things a lot more than your average 21-year-old might. And number two, I would tell you that it's given me a huge purpose in my life. And like I was saying, it's given me my why to continue to fight cancer the way that I do, and to continue to get up and go play football, to set an example for kids who may be in the hospital and aren't sure if they can still live out their dream after they beat cancer or while they're fighting cancer. Um, to be that person that they can point to and say, if he can do it, then I can do it too. So that's what cancer has given me, the ability to impact a lot of other people. And for that, I'm really, really thankful, to be able to have that platform. There's a lot of bad things that cancer has given me, but there's also positive that I choose to focus on.
Yeah. Um, what's your number one vice? Because I remember when you came last in Thanksgiving and you were like, this is how I eat really clean, I drink a lot of water. But what's your number one vice as far as like snack foods or sweets? Or do you have anything that is the thing that gets you?
Oh, that's a good question. The one thing that I would say kind of gets me is pretzels. I like to eat almonds a lot,
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, pretzels and almonds together is a really, really good combination. And the problem with pretzels is so my whole philosophy for a diet, I've read a lot of books and things like that, and to try to help myself be in a good position in my fight with cancer and try to do what I can personally. And the problem with pretzels is that like the list of ingredients that goes into pretzels is like a mile long. So you know it can't be good for you. And I know there's a lot worse things that I could be eating, but man, pretzels and almonds is tough to beat.
That's
Try it if you're out there and you want a snack. It's good.
I'm gonna have to try that. Okay, we have a question that just came in on the chat. How was your experience at the Outback Bowl and the victory over Auburn?
Oh, the Outback Bowl was a blast. It was a great week. We were down there for like 5 or 6 days, I think. And one of the coolest things that I got to do was they had like 6 players from each team get to go to the hospital, the Children's Hospital in Tampa. And so we went there with 6 of the Auburn guys, and I was lucky enough to get picked to go from our team. And to just get into a different hospital and to get to talk to kids who I'd never seen before and talk to staff and nurses that I had never seen before and get to share my story with them. And I got to meet a lot of really cool kids who some of them I still even stay in touch with today. That was one of my highlights for the week. And then also going down and getting to beat a team from the SEC who we weren't supposed to even be able to play with at all. That was pretty fun too because they were talking a lot of trash during the week. So it was fun to go beat them.
That's awesome. What does the season look like coming up? What do you know? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions up in the air, just with like logistics and like, are we going to test players weekly? Is it going to be something that where we test players bi-weekly? I am almost positive that we're going to play. I just don't know what it's going to look like with fans, what it's going to look like with travel and things like that. So there's a lot of questions that still need to be sorted out, but I think there's a lot of positive momentum towards getting us back on the field, which I'm happy about. Miss being around my teammates and having that time with my buddies.
Yeah. Do you guys do like Hangouts? Do you do Zoom Hangouts or Google Hangouts or anything?
Yeah, we're meeting with our coaches for almost 2 hours a day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So we're in our position groups for that time.
Okay.
So like all the kickers, punters, and snappers, we'll meet together with our position coach and go over film and things like that. But we'll also probably once every week or two, we'll do a big like team get together on Zoom where we're all just kind of hanging out and voicing any concerns or any needs of the players so that we can try to get those to our coaches and get those taken care of. But it's also a time for us just to see each other and you get to crack some jokes and hang out for a little while because we're all across the country.
Yeah. You know, you brought up a good point about uncertainty and in our economy, in our world, right? We're dealing with a lot of things we can't control. And
Mm-hmm.
as I was thinking about today's conversation, I was thinking, you know, I can speak for myself when I feel out of control or there's something happening in my life and I'm out of control, it can make me feel uncertain. And then I thought
Mm-hmm.
about, you know, you had no control over the fact that you were diagnosed with cancer. You had no control over the fact of what your chemo looked like. There were so many things in your life that you just didn't have control of. And yet, how did you then focus on what you could control and choose to stay focused on that? Because I think our people, we have a lot of realtors watching this. And so, well, and in any environment, actually, when things are out of our control, we can really get a little bit triggered, a little tilted.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you handle when things just aren't in your control? You don't know if you're going to go back to school starting in September. We don't know what's going to happen. And so what would you recommend for those of us that let our minds race on the what ifs?
Yeah, absolutely. The way that I would answer that question is that I would tell you what I was told early on in my battle with cancer is that your mind is a very, very powerful thing, and it can be powerful in a good way or it can be powerful in a bad way. So if you let your mind go to the what ifs and the bad places and the negatives, then that's all you're going to focus on. But if you point your mind in the right direction of this is what I can control, this is what I'm doing to improve my situation, this is how I'm making the best out of what's going on right now, then you're going to have a lot more positive outlook. You're going to feel better and you're going to enjoy things a lot more, because when you focus on negatives all day, no one enjoys that. I mean, it's miserable. But if you put your mind in the right place and you're focusing on what you can control and the positives of a negative situation, it just kind of changes your outlook on life. And that's how I've kind of taken my battle with cancer, that there's a lot of bad stuff going on, but look at all the great that's coming out of it, and look at the great things that I can control.
Yeah. Choose to find the great things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Um, okay, so there was another question that I missed a little while back. Oh, here's a good one. Do you celebrate all of your small victories along the journey, and how do you celebrate those wins?
Yeah, I I got this quote from Coach Fleck. I think it was like, so when I go have my scans every 2 or 3 months, the first call that I make is to Coach Fleck, because I always call him the night before to let him know that I'm going in. And then whether good or bad, I always call him to let him know the results that we got. And I remember I got good scans one day, and he just said, celebrate the good days, celebrate the good days, because you go through life and there's plenty of bad days and there's plenty of days where you don't have as much to celebrate. So when you get positive news and when you have a good day, you got to enjoy that. And the way that I like to enjoy it is to be around the people who have supported me, and to be around my friends and family, because those are the people who have been down there at the hospital with me, who have sat there with my parents when I'm going through surgeries and when I'm out in the operating room and they're sitting out there waiting for me to get out. And they're the ones who have checked in on me and all those things like that. So when I get good news, I want everybody to enjoy the good news together, because we've all been through the hard times together. So I like to enjoy it with everybody together. Maybe that's like having a little grill out in the backyard or going out to eat or something like that. But I feel the best when I'm surrounded by the people who have taken care of me.
So you mentioned coach. Um, what's interesting to me is you've mentioned your coach, and you've mentioned your surroundings, and you've mentioned the people that are in your surroundings. So who you surround yourself with matters.
Absolutely does.
Yeah.
Absolutely does.
Yeah.
One thing that we talk about in our culture, the roundabout culture, that I know that I shared with you guys when I was out there, was um, this idea of your compass. And in life and in like in sailing, they use the compass to point the boat in a direction that they want to head to. And in the row the boat culture, in Coach Fleck's culture, our definition for the compass is the direction that your life is headed, dictated by the people you surround yourself with. And that's a huge part of the culture that's resonated with me, because if you surround yourself with positive people, you're going to be headed in a positive direction. So for me, the people that I surround myself with are huge, and people that care about you and love you and want to see you healthy are the people that I want to be around.
That's awesome. So what books, do you like to read books?
Um, I like
Oh,
to read
that's
books, but
okay.
I'm not a great reader. I just I have a little trouble sitting down and
Yeah.
dedicating time to reading a book.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy like the knowledge that you can get out of a book, whether it's like just reading a book for fun, or like I'm reading a book right now about diet, and just trying to learn from different people's ideas and things like that. Uh, I just need to be a little better about dedicating my time to it, but I do enjoy it.
What do you love doing when you are in your downtime?
I like to play a lot of golf. When I had my knee surgery when I was a freshman in high school, um, I was a football player, hockey player, and lacrosse player. And when I had that knee replacement, the doctors basically said all three of those sports are off the table. You can't risk taking a hit on that knee, and all like the pounding from running and skating, you can't do on a replaced knee. So I said, okay, well, what can I play? And golf was one of the options. And I had never played golf before, but I kind of figured that it looked fun and there was cool clothes. So that's the one that I picked up,
Yeah.
and I have really fallen in love with golf since then. So I played all through high school, missed the state tournament by one stroke as a senior after picking the game up as a sophomore.
Yeah.
And just play as much as I can when I got some free time out at the lake or at home when we done a football. So golf is kind of my favorite hobby.
That's awesome. I had no idea about the golf thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's so it's funny that you say, you can't sit still, and yet golf seems to be one of those sports that isn't necessarily fast moving.
Yeah. I think that's the thought, like that's kind of the rep that golf gets,
Yeah.
but if you play golf, I feel like it's different because you hit the ball and then you're so excited to go hit your next shot.
Yeah.
So um, for me, at golf's always been like kind of a strategy game, and you're always thinking about your next shot and like your all your different swing thoughts and techniques, and it's more than people think it is, in my opinion.
I'm sure it is. I just know that whenever I turn on the TV and I hear the birds in the background, and then the guys like whispering when they're
Yeah,
when they're
yeah.
taking the
TV
shot,
golf is
I'm like,
yeah.
put me to sleep. But that's just because,
You
yeah,
got to get out and play by yourself. It's fun, and you get to be outside all day.
yeah, that is true. What position did you play for lacrosse?
I was a midfielder and I took face-offs, so I was the face-off guy. I
Oh,
loved lacrosse. I
yeah.
actually I stopped playing baseball in third grade to play lacrosse so that I could run more
Mm,
because I didn't feel like I was running very much in baseball.
yeah.
So I switched to lacrosse as a fourth grader, I think, and
Wow.
played it ever since.
And then in hockey, what position were you? Offensive line, defense?
I played defense.
Yeah.
I like to play defense, and I liked hockey a lot too. My when I was first diagnosed, it was in like end of November, early December, and my first question was, when can I get back to playing hockey? Because I'd been having to sit and watch practice because I couldn't skate on my knee.
Yeah.
So that was my first question was, when can I get back to skating? And the answer was not what I was looking for.
You know what I love about you? Well, there's a lot of things that I love about you, but I love the fact that whenever somebody tells you you can't do something, you always respond with, well, what can I do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it just goes back to kind of the mindset of focusing on the positives. Um, if you let your mind go to the negatives and what you can't do, you're going to be bummed out. But if you figure out something that you can and something that you can work towards, like for me, like figuring out that I could play golf, um, I wanted to be the best golfer on our team and in our high school. So that was what I chose to focus on and chose to focus my efforts towards instead of sitting there saying, okay, well, all my buddies are playing lacrosse and I can't play lacrosse anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, good perspective. Okay, so if you had the opportunity to share a message with us, what would the message be?
My message would be find your why that motivates you. Find your purpose that motivates you and move forward with a positive attitude. So for me, my why is being able to be a leader and to be someone that all these kids in the hospital can look to. And I think that this is something that's really, really special. And I take that positively, even though I'm still going through my own health battles myself sometimes here. So having something that motivates you and you can move forward with positively and say that this is the impact that I'm going to make is huge. And it gives you a purpose each morning when you wake up. So that's what I would say is my message for the people out there is find your why.
Yeah, that's awesome. Simon Sinek has a book called Start With Why. It's on Audible, so you could listen to it. You don't have to read it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I can
Yeah,
listen to it on the golf course.
there you go. See, it's a win-win all the way
Yeah,
around.
I like it.
Okay, did anybody else have any questions that I didn't get? Okay, so Casey, what's next? Are you finished with your last round of treatment now?
Yep, I'm finished with my last round of treatment. I had a scan here in early to mid-May. Everything was good and everything was stable. So I still have my port in my chest, and we're gonna wait another 2 months and do another scan in mid-July just to make sure everything is still stable because I've had stuff pop back up. And as long as we have that, then I'll be able to get my port out and I'll be able to swim in the lakes. Right now, I can the lakes with my port in. They're worried about it getting infected with the bacteria in the lakes.
Yeah,
So that's kind of the thing that I have my head focused on is being able to get back in the lakes once we get that out.
that's awesome. Do you do like up at the cabin? I would, do you have a cabin that you guys go to?
Yeah, we have a cabin up in Green Lake, on Green Lake in Spicer, Minnesota, like
Cool.
2 hours west of the Twin Cities, and it's an awesome lake and it's fun to be out there. So looking forward to that and looking forward to being able to hang out for the second half of summer on the water.
Good. Awesome. All right. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
I don't know. Any questions from the Facebook following?
Let's see. I'm going to scroll over on the thing to see if there's anything more. No, I think we're good. I think we've gotten all the questions asked and answered. Maybe I should check here one quick time.
Yeah, sure. Any other questions out there, send them in. I love doing these kind of things and hanging out with you guys and answering however I can help. So send them in. You
Okay.
got them.
I got one. Okay, so one of our agents asked, it's a great question. Does Coach Fleck ever slow down?
No. The short answer is no. We'll have a team meeting. So fall camp is like the biggest grind period in the football season for us players. It's basically like the month of August. You're in the complex from about 6:30 a.m. till 10 at night with meetings, practice, lifts. It's basically like full day of football for a month straight. And we'll have a team meeting at 6 a.m. and he's like bouncing off the ceiling, like coming in with energy and fired up about this and that, getting us going in the morning. And we'll get together at the end of the day for like kind of a wrap up meeting. And he's the same exact way. So I don't know how he does it. I think he drinks quite a bit of coffee, but he never slows down. So it's fun to be around, and it's contagious to have that energy to be the leader of your program, and it definitely rubs off on us players, and it's awesome.
So another question about Coach is how does Coach uphold the standard? And that was the first question. So how does he uphold standards? And then the second question was, how was your experience with the SB Awards?
Yeah. So I'll answer the first question first. How does Coach Fleck uphold the standards that he has for us? A lot of what he talks about is taking credit for bad times and deflecting credit in good times. And something that's cool for people to watch is that when we have success and when we win games, he gives a lot of credit to our assistant coaches, our players, our trainers, and things like that. And then when we lose, he'll almost always will say, and that's on me, and that's on me, and that's on me, to the point where people get frustrated with them saying like, well, why don't you fix it? But he's taking all the negativity and putting it all on himself. But when we win, he's putting it on other people. So that's something that I've kind of followed in how he upholds the standard of treating people the right way and kind of being humble in your successes. That's one thing that stands out to me. And then my experience down at the college football awards, it was unbelievable. So I had found out like a week or two before that that I had won this award, and I started looking at the players who had also won awards down there, and I was like, wait, am I gonna be like around these guys? Like these are the guys who like I like to watch. So I got down there, and it was in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame, and I got to be like we walked in the doors, and there was two security guards, like police officer security guards, who were like, all right, we're gonna walk you up to your room. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, every player gets walked up to their room, because it's like Joe Burrow, who won the Heisman Trophy, uh, Jonathan Taylor, the running back from Wisconsin, Chase Young, the #2 draft pick from Ohio State, Justin Fields, their quarterback, like all these great players who are really really famous, who actually need security. And then there's me, but they had security for every player, and I was like, you guys really don't need to do this. I don't think anybody here knows who I am. But anyways, it was just cool to see all those people. There was people like lined up outside of the hotel to try to catch the players for autographs and things like that. And just kind of when I got up to, they had all the players on the, like it was like the third floor of the hotel or something like that. And once like the security had walked me up there, it was really just like a bunch of 21, 22-year-olds just hanging out. So I got to hang out with all these guys, got to meet all these guys, and found out that even though they're these great athletes and they're going to be millionaires, or some are millionaires now after the NFL draft, that they're just the same as me. I mean, we were talking about finals, we were talking about school, we were talking about like hanging out and what guys like to do on the weekends. And it was just cool to see like that other side of all these great players. And it was definitely an experience that I'll never forget, and feel lucky to have had that chance.
So cool. You're kind of a big deal, Casey O'Brien. I don't know if you know this, but you are kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they may be big deals too, but you're kind of a big deal. Um, all right. Well, I think we've answered all of them, and I want you to be able to get out on the golf course before it rains if you're going to head out there.
Yeah, that's my plan. That's my plan.
Is it? Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I cannot tell you enough how much, how grateful I am that you are here and that you keep sharing your story, and you're impacting a lot of people. So just know that you're making a huge positive impact in this world. So keep up your studies. Let me know when you're looking for a job. I got
Yeah,
people.
I will, absolutely.
I got people, and we'll see you out on the field this year.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Looking forward to it. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and all the people around the state who have supported me. So happy to do this, and happy to get to connect with you guys out there. And hopefully we'll be able to see everybody at TCF Bank this fall, as long as things are safe. I'd love to get all those fans back and be able to hang out with everybody together.
That's awesome. All right, Casey, you have a great summer.
You too. Thank you, guys.
Get up to the lake.
Yep.